Real life.
Okay.
Make sure that open is cold.
Guys, what is the worst injury that you have ever sustained?
My kneecap got pushed to the side of my leg by a football helmet.
Oh no. That bad.
Sucked.
Yeah, that's probably worse than anything I've had. I've been pretty sheltered. I've had a sprained ankle and I had a hairline fracture in a toe. That's about it.
Damn.
Man. The reason I ask is I get to go get an X-ray taken of my foot tomorrow because in December I was hanging Christmas lights and I fell off of a ladder.
Yeah, that's bad.
And very badly sprained my ankle, and it hasn't healed yet. And anytime I've tried to like jog or run or move at a quicker pace than a walk, it like there's like a twinge and like, oh no, that's not good. And that happened while we were walking the dogs the other night, and then yesterday I was going down the stairs into my basement. I slipped and I had to like hop off the last 2 steps, and I landed oddly on my ankle, my left ankle, and oh boy, it's been real upset since then. So I gotta go get that looked at. I also had a hammer dropped in my head last year by my best friend since 3rd grade.
I remember that.
How much of this is just your inability to function normally versus you're getting old?
I mean, the ladder was an accident, and then I didn't drop a hammer on my own head.
You sure about that?
I did dislocate the joint that your leg attaches, that your hip attaches to.
What? Are you a Kindle? What the fuck are you talking about?
No, dude, I was jumping off of a diving board, July 4th, 2019, I think. And
so it was your fault that we had the pandemic.
No, it's Jude's fault because he couldn't swim at the time, and he was having me like there was a rock wall and diving board, and he was like, "Dad, do a cannonball, do all this stuff." And so I'm jumping, and you remember you were there. I jump, I feel a very loud pop in my hip, and I land in the water.
Wait, I was there?
No, you weren't with me, but you obviously we were friends when this took place. And
Loosely.
I barely pulled myself out of the pool.
We're friends now. I don't.
And they were going to call an ambulance, but I did not have great health insurance at that time. It's like no ambulance. And I had my wife drive me to urgent care, and I was in so much pain that I just had tears streaming down my face. And
I bet that was a sight to be seen.
It was
post-injury cannonball Johnny.
I was trying to be calm. I was like, no, it's fine. And they pushed me in a wheelchair to my car, and I had to lay on the couch for like 3 days and played a bunch of Breath of the Wild.
That's too bad.
And then Jude deleted my save, and
you just keep winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't sustained a lot of injuries. We've talked about this on the show before. I'm pretty squeamish. Just my body just does not like hearing about any of this shit. So I don't know. No, you're fine. I just look forward to the day that the paleontologists like dig up my bones and they go, wow, this guy didn't fucking live at all. Like,
good bones.
He didn't do anything. Zero broken bones. There's nothing here. Like,
finally,
this guy just kind of like sat inert for 80 years and then he died.
Hey, that sounds like a good life.
I'm game. I'm happy about it, but yeah.
I also, from the hammer, I have a permanent dent in my head. And I'm not exaggerating.
No, I know, we know you're not exaggerating. It's just, sometimes you say things and it's too easy and we just don't. And we just don't have to capitalize on it. But
that's recent. Everything else that's wrong with me has been going on for years. So
anyway. There's a lot wrong with you. There's a lot wrong with us. This is the Casual Hour. We've been injured, and we continually injure others every week on Wednesday nights. You found one of my favorite types of episodes. If this is your first time listening, this is an April preview. It's a games preview episode. We're going to tell you about the games coming out in April. We're going to tell you about the games we thought that would be good in March. We're going to sprinkle in some of the games that we've been playing outside of those things. We might give you one little news story tonight, which is something we typically do each week, but not a whole lot this time. So yeah, I'm Bobby. Chase is here with me. Hello, Chase.
Hi. This is our Louisiana episode.
318.
Yeah, it's a Louisiana area code.
There you go. It's no 618. Johnny, speaking of the 618, how are you?
314, that's for sure.
Speaking of what?
The
I'm great,
618.
thank you. Yeah, I'm good.
Is that dent in your head, hitting your ears? What's going on over there?
On my own head?
God. We are
I'm good.
here off to a great start. We're going to get into it. Chase, why don't you tell us what you've been up to?
Not much.
Okay.
Cool. Bobby, tell me about Terra Nil.
No, I really don't have a whole lot to talk about. There's still some basketball going on. I won one of my my pools.
Yay.
Because everybody's brackets were so fucked as the games have been so crazy. So I won one of those pools. That's pretty cool. I got a chance at second in another one.
Nice.
Yeah, and then this is like when you're listening to or not when you're listening. If you're listening to this right now, if you're live with us, happy opening day eve for baseball. And if you're listening to this the day it comes out on the audio only podcast Friday, that means hopefully the Cardinals brought home a win. I will be at that game, so
do you got season tickets again?
No. Just going to this game.
Pick
so
choosies. A little bit more choosy this year.
Yeah. Well, I don't live downtown anymore, so I can't just walk down to the stadium and
listen. You ever want to hang out with me while I slide a hot dog down my gullet? Let me know.
Every damn day, Bobby.
Well, it's Bobby's the Madison County Glizzy Gobbler King.
Oh, Jesus. So yeah, like again, I haven't been playing too many video games. It's kind of like last week. I have been playing more of the D Word. Bobby and I played a little bit of the D Word together.
So did I. I was there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
we all touched our D words together. It was fun. And then I've played a little bit more of my March spin the wheel game, my backlog roulette game, which was Opus, Echo of Starsong. I'm still not very far into that game. I definitely lost track of time on that one. And even though I'm liking it, I'm just kind of not enthused to jump back into it the way I have been for some of the other games. I will say I played more tonight. I'm through chapter 2, and a game's starting to become a little less like a side-scrolling adventure visual novel thing that it started as. There's still elements of that in there, but it's starting to get more into. Feels a lot like the map part of Mass Effect, like when you're in the star map and you're in the ship. Not like the Mako, but like when you're in the ship and you're burning
stuff?
No, I think would this be like Mass Effect 2 or Mass Effect 3? It's when you have fuel in the Normandy and you have to be moving the ship around the solar or the star maps there. And so there is a fuel system in here. You have 10 fuel units and you have to keep your fuel up. You have explorer kits that you only have 10 of, so you can or only have 6 of. So you have to use your explorer kits at different times to get different materials that maybe you can sell, so you can then buy more fuel and more explorer kits. There's a little bit of like an Oregon Trail thing going on, because sometimes you can get into like chance time events, and your ship has armor plating. Only 10 of those armor plates, and if you screw up a dice roll or something, you could lose some of your armor plates, or you could like spend some of your armor plates to take a different dialogue option, like when somebody is hailing down your ship and going, "Hey, I think we have a bounty on your ship," and you go, no you don't, fuck, let's gun it. And so you might lose like 5 plates as you try to outrun them. So there's some kind of materials that you're keeping up with as well. I find that part of the game to be kind of tedious and unnecessary, and I also can't tell if I'm just still so early in the game that they're still tutorializing things, or if the game really is just that handholdy of, okay, hey, this is the next thing you do, this is the next thing you do, because like for right now it feels like it's starting to build a bunch of complex systems, but it's not actually letting me interact with really any of them. It's still kind of just doing everything for me. But it's kind of like they're just playing the game for me at this point. Which is fine. I kind of would rather that because I don't love the systems they're starting to bring in there, but I really like the story. I think the ideas, the themes that are in there are kind of cool. I think a lot of the characters are really interesting.
Is
But
that enough to carry you through, you think?
I mean, we'll see.
He's only got a few weeks left.
Technically, I only have a couple days left.
Oh, it's true. Yeah.
Before March is over. But even if this dips into April, I'm still going to try to finish this game, or at least give it much more of a chance. We will still spin a wheel tonight. It is an April preview. And I'll have a new thing to put on my plate, but I will hopefully have both of those games completed in some form or fashion by the end of this next month. So
right on.
Opus Echo Starsong still kind of cool, and I'm still looking forward to checking more of that out. And then Bobby and I did a quick look. Is this one up yet, Bobby, or is this going up?
No, we're not putting anything up this week. It'll be well, if you're listening to this, it's up.
Okay, sounds good. So I've talked a little bit about good friend of the show, Jiggy, and I are going to be doing an episode of Gamers on the Go where we talk about the top 25 Game Boy and Game Boy Color games. We've done this for Game Boy Advance. We've done it for DS and 3DS, and we thought, hey, it's time to go back to the original. And so putting that list together, there were some games that I was like, these are some games I hadn't experienced yet. I don't know if they'd necessarily crack the top 25, but I want to test them out and know for sure. And one of those games is a game called Mole Mania, which is a Nintendo published game. It's actually produced by Shigeru Miyamoto, but it's one of his lesser known titles. And I decided, hey, let's I got this Analog Pocket. I've got this game. Let's plug it in and play it. And I think it's kind of cool. It's a puzzle game. It's like a single screen puzzle where you solve it all on that screen, and then you are moving to the next screen to solve more puzzles. It's a little bit like Pushmo in that way, where you just kind of like get this one done and now move on to the next one, and it's all right in front of you. You can pause the game. You can think about how you want to tackle this, and then go at it. But
we went at it.
We did. That quick look is very early in the game, and yet, man, those mechanics. I mean, it plays well. It's easy to play. It is not difficult to handle the controls or anything like that. But what is difficult, they just immediately start throwing logical concepts at you that I don't know if I was quite ready for. It got difficult fast with different things that you can push. Being that you're a mole, you can dig. There's like a sub screen where you can go down underneath. It's kind of like a dig dug thing where you can then dig around these sections and then pop back up into the main overworld screen. It looks a lot like Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening in just art style. The nice pixely art style, that kind of top down view of everything.
Yeah, it does look good.
It's really cool. I like the music as well. But it's definitely one that was breaking my brain very early on. And I mean, I plan to go back to it at some point. I don't know if I'm going to get to play any more of it before we record our GOTG episode. But I think that game is pretty cool. And if you haven't played Mole Mania yet, I would suggest you check out our quick look and then go play some, because it's a neat little game.
Hell yeah!
I just might have to do that.
Yeah.
Chase played the D word. He went back to Opus Echo of Starsong, and he is talking about Mole Mania, a game that we got a quick look that will be out soon. So tune in for that. Another game that we're going to have a quick look for that I don't know how to talk about.
Damn you, Bobby.
It's called Pineapple on Pizza.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
This game came out yesterday. It is a video game that you can play. It's a video game that you can play for free.
Is it?
And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Is it a video game you can play?
Johnny, I want you.
I'm already adding it to my library.
To play that game, I want you to set aside 10 minutes of your life.
Okay.
and just play
You
that
might
game.
only need 5 of it, but
Yeah.
set aside 10.
And report back to us. We went to record this
Right
quick look
now,
in a
you
lot.
want to do this?
No.
No. But I would give. I don't want to put too much on the game because I don't want to put too many expectations.
I don't think we need to talk about it at all.
Okay, I was just gonna say it has a Frog Fractions-esque feel to it in that like what you said. People should just experience it. You shouldn't explain to people what this game is. You should just go check it out. Again, it's super short. You'll have a good time.
So that is Pineapple on Pizza. It came out March 28th. It is on Steam only at the time, and you should definitely take a look at it. Another game I checked out. It is free. And speaking of free things, I got another one for you. I am here to give you free things tonight. Above Snakes Prologue is out. This is a game that comes out in May. I played a demo of this.
Above Snakes?
Yep.
Above
Snakes. This game came out as a demo at a Next Fest, probably like 2 or 3 Next Fest ago. And this is a survival crafting game.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got some really cool tricks up its sleeve, though, because you are not only are you collecting items that you will then craft out, you're also, how would you explain it, Chase? It's kind of like it's not quite a puzzle. It's like a quilt almost in a way.
Yeah, I mean, the way I kind of described it on the quick look, we have a quick look of that as well that will be going up relatively soon. I kind of said it's like one of those survival crafting games meets Dwarf Romantic in that you are placing the tiles on the world that make up the world, and then you are zooming into the world to play as the character who's doing the survival, who's doing like a Don't Starve. It's like you're doing Don't Starve, but you're actually building the world as you play. And it's cool. It's don't really cool. Love the survival crafting stuff because those are just not the games that I like. But
so this is its hook. It's
yeah.
Okay.
Hey, you need fish. Do you need fish? Well, what if you placed the lake over here and now you can go and fish that lake? Or you need to be able to access some trees. Well, you can put the forest tiles over here, and now you've got trees that you can go into. And maybe there's some specific tiles that have quests associated with them. Like, what was the one that you had, Bobby? It was like a caravan or something that was.
Yep, it's a caravan that you have to go. You first have to. It's like, hey, you need to link up with the survivor camp, and I'm like, well, there is no survivor camp. And as I'm progressing through the game, I unlocked a survivor camp tile, which is there's story tiles and then there's just like generic tiles. And so you get the survivor camp, you go and you talk to them, and you start to get missions. And you find out that they were attacked. There's a plague and there's zombies and shit that happen at night. They're like, hey, we got attacked. We lost our caravan. Can you find it? And then you unlock another story tile, which is essentially like the caravan tile. But that's where they kind of skill check you because, hey, that tile requires beeswax. Well, that's more of a rare item. You need to have these other tiles that get it. And it's a really cool way of kind of expanding on the just one more thing you need to build the next thing. And it's really neat. You can spin the tiles around and build your own little kind of biomes that you go and explore. And in those biomes, you're going to get more resources. So if you need hemp, you might find a hemp plant. If you need to make something, you might find cotton. It's really fucking cool. It's definitely high on my list to check out. I enjoy the demo. They made a ton of progress. This is made by Square Glade Games, by the way. They made a ton of progress on that first demo I played to what I played with this prologue. And I'm very excited for the full release that comes out in May. And then a game that I also checked out at a Steam Next Fest with Chase on stream is a game that has remained incredibly high on my list of things to check out ever since, and that is Terra Nil. This game is produced by Devolver Digital, and it's made by Free Lives, I believe his name. Yep, Free Lives.
Yeah, Free Lives.
$24.99 on Steam, but if you are a Netflix subscriber, you can get this on iOS and Android. So it's on mobile, it's on tablet. I think it plays great on your iPad. I think it's a very chilled out experience there. I am going to come right out and tell you this game's fucking incredible. I have just thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. I've already rehabilitated two playthroughs of this one one continent. So that's kind of the gimmick here is you start this off, you rehabilitate this area, then you zoom out and you have the globe. And it's more of like, okay, you've unlocked this next continent. You go in there and there's new biomes, new creatures. But what's really cool about this is I guess you could call it a reverse city builder. They've tongue in cheek referred to it that way. You come into a place that is barren of any sort of ecosystems. There's no greenery to it. There's no water. And you are giving tools to bring those things back. And you are, adding power through windmills. Then you're going to be adding in generators, and then you need to bring in fertilizers, so on and so forth. And you are constructing out this system that will expand and bring different biomes on the continent that you're into. So you might have more of like a marsh, you might have more of a prairie, and depending on the biomes that you're building, that's also going to bring back different animals and creatures. What's really cool about this is that there are, like, for each area, quote unquote unlocks. Hey, you found the 6 animals that you can bring back here. And it's not as easy as it might sound. Like, you would have to figure out, well, geese only come to a lake, but everything I have here is more like a stream or a river. Like, how do I get about building a lake here? And this animal hangs out in a forest near a prey. Well, I figured out that deer will show up on a prairie or a plain. And if I put that next to a forest that I could grow, that's how you kind of unlock that creature, which is fun. So there's neat things that you can do with that. There's 3 tiers, at least on the first continent, of things you unlock, and they start pretty simple. You're just adding grass and streams. Then it gets to be a bit more, hey, you need to add these things that are going to add humidity to the area. And then you're going to find out that certain areas are more fertile to grow different types of things depending on the climate you're creating. So you start with kind of just establishing this area. And if you do this right and you add enough humidity, what's really kick-ass is you might start to get rain and thunderstorms that come in. So weather plays a part into it. And if you add weather into it, that'll help you grow certain things in areas without you using your resources. It's really fucking cool. And I just want to share like some moment of the year type stuff for me. I love when you finish up one of these, there's 2 options, continue or appreciate. And if you hit appreciate, it goes dark for a second, and then it comes in on these like incredibly lush, zoomed in like details of the world you just built. And it's doing some cool pans and zooms, and it's just like you built this world and you brought this stuff back to life, and it lets you, as it says, appreciate what you did.
Enjoy the habitat that you created.
It is pixel art, right?
It is not pixel art. So that's the cool thing about this.
Okay.
The very first version of this, there was a test of it that was. So there was a playable version, I think it was on itch for a while, that was just a very like 2D pixel version of what this game is. It's got a really cool, I don't want to say it's like watercolor or hand drawn. It's somewhere in like a rotoscoping or maybe like a cell shading a little bit. It's very pretty. It's got an awesome soundtrack to it. If you did pre-order this on Steam prior to launch, they upgraded it to a deluxe version, and you get an awesome art book and the soundtrack with that. So the art book's gorgeous. There's a really cool book that you're using to learn about wildlife in the game. But I can't recommend it enough. I think it's if you like SimCities, if you like, Chase mentioned Dwarf Romantic earlier. We talked about a game called Islands. I can't remember the other one. There was like a game that was a really cool hand-drawn art style that you were building just like these little towers out on an island. It came to mobile. I think we did a quick look for it. Can't remember the name of it. It was very simple. Like, you would build archways and you can raise these buildings up. Fuck, what was the name of that? Anyway, this is just a very chilled out game. Like, I would say if you have a tablet, you're laying down, getting ready to call it a night, go in and do a little bit with this. It's really fucking slick.
Yeah, I also like, I mean, you are building some infrastructure on these places. Like, you are placing some buildings or some windmill type looking things, but when you actually finish the place, all that stuff kind of rebuilds itself and then pops out of the world. So you actually have to end.
You have to go and recycle it, and that's really cool too. So like there's 3 phases to basically finishing a continent, and the last one is you have to go and put recyclers next to what you build, and they expand out like everything else, but then you have to pick those up and it's an airship with a boat. And so the boat has to be able to reach these areas and pull stuff back, and you see it unpack, and then the boat loads into that, and that's when they take off. So I was like, well, I'm bringing all this life back, but I've put a lot of these fucking buildings in here. This doesn't really seem like I'm respecting what's going on. It's like, oh no, you have to unpack everything. So when it's done, there's no footprint that you left there, which is cool.
Yeah, I think it's neat.
It's great. It's a very cool game.
It's a very cool concept for one of these.
Yeah. So that's Terra Nil. I talked about, I mentioned Pineapple on Pizza, a free game that you can download on Steam and you should check out. I talked about the Above Snakes Prologue. That is also a free game on Steam that you should check out. And Terra Nil, I don't want to call it free, but if you're paying for Netflix, you got this game on your phone. You should check it out. Otherwise, it's definitely worth it, $25 in my opinion. So those are the things that I've been up to. Johnny.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I finished Dead Space.
Yeah.
Finished Dead Space last week. It was a goal of mine to finish it before RE4 remake came out, and I achieved that goal. And Dead Space is my favorite game I played this year so far. I think it's going to be one of my favorite games I've maybe ever played.
Very good.
Yeah, I've talked about it a bunch on the show. I'll be talking about it later this year. But I just wanted to shout that out. I got through it. I started a new game plus, but I stopped myself before I really moved ahead with it because there were other things that I needed to put some time into. But that's how much I loved it. Like I was like, I should just play this again. And Octopath 2, still putting hours into that every week. I have all 8 characters now, and I'm beginning chapter 2 with Hikari.
I didn't realize you got everybody before the second chapter.
You complete the first chapter for each character.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And then on the map, it shows you Agnia's chapter 2, and it tells you like what level it recommends you are before you go and check it out. And I love that game. I've been listening to the soundtrack on YouTube because I think it's.
So sorry, could you do things out of order then? Could you do the second chapter of Hikari before you got all 8 characters, or do you have to? Okay.
Yeah. There's one character that you have to play through their first 2 chapters before you get into the point of the story that he encounters the rest of your party. But other than that, it's you meet a character, you have the option of listening to their origin story. If you don't listen to it then, you can listen to it again later at a tavern. I can't say enough good things about this game.
It's been really cool.
I'm sad. Yeah. And finally, the big release last week was the Resident Evil 4 remake. Came out, and this is a game I traded my PS2 in so I could play RE4 and Smash Brothers Melee. And it completely blew my mind the first time I played it. But I haven't touched any of the re-releases or the remasters or anything like that since I played it the very first time. So I was more skeptical of this remake than I was of RE2 and 3, just because it was coming, those were coming from like tank controls, and the remakes were inherently very different games. But
you didn't feel that way about Dead Space.
I'd never played Dead Space.
Okay.
And like from what I understand, they did change like the combat, and like there are some things that are different. And so even some story stuff was changed. It's in Dead Space.
Okay.
Gotcha. So yeah, I imagine like if I played the original, this wouldn't have had the same impact on me. And that's kind of where I'm at with RE4. It is incredible. I think it is absolutely justified in getting the praise that it's gotten, because it is, despite whether or not it needed to happen, they were still remaking like one of the most influential games ever released. And I think that they did an excellent job. There have been some
Yeah.
changes in the narrative and the structure. The combat has been expanded upon. You can move while you're aiming now, which I know a lot of people really hated in the original game. And Leon is just as quippy as ever. I just got
does being able to move, because the thing I hear about with Resident Evil, again, I don't play these games, that's not my kind of game, but the reason that tank controls are liked, I know not everybody feels this way, but the when people say they like the tank controls, it's because having that more limited amount of movement makes the games scarier. Like having that limitation on you feels like you aren't as mobile. You can't just dodge and get out of the way of these zombies. You have to run away, or you have to be more intentional with the things that you do. So having RE4 Remake let you be much more mobile, does that take away some of the horror elements of it? I mean, I guess around 4 it was already starting to lose some of the horror elements. I know like 5, I've played some of 5. 5 is not scary at all because it's a co-op action game. But how are you feeling about 4 in terms of scariness versus controls?
I mean, I know when certain things are about to happen. So I don't know, like it's hard to say how much that has influenced, my reactions to things, but it's still incredibly tense whenever there is a mob of villagers swarming you, especially once you get Ashley and you have her to worry about. And
I mean, she is one of the worst characters.
Agreed.
I mean, we did a whole tournament about it, and she got very close to winning.
Yeah.
She ran against some tough competition. She
hasn't really gotten on my nerves.
Okay.
So far. But you're still like your movement is slowed while you're aiming. So you are able to move, but you're not strafing like you would in another shooter. If I need to get out of the way of someone that's rushing me, I have to let go of the left trigger so I can move quicker away from them. It's gross. It's great. I'm having a really good time with it, but it's coming from Dead Space to this. Dead Space. This is like seeing an old friend I haven't seen in a really long time. Whereas Dead Space was like this transformative experience.
That's a pretty interesting way to look at it, because I'm playing this. Well, I've played this this remake. I beat RE4 back when I lived in Colorado, surrounded by my friends. We played through it every night together and had a blast. And I don't know if I don't know if I want to play this. I'm just going to call it out. Like,
I think it's totally fair. Like
it's a very good version of this game. The best version of this game. I just don't care anymore. Like, I have this memory that I'm very, very appreciative of. And I know that they've added some really cool quality of life stuff. And from, preservation standpoints, I'm glad that there's another way to keep this story going. But I started playing it. I'm just like thinking about, I got the guilt of there's new shit you should be playing. This is a new game. But I'm just thinking to myself, like, hey, there's new stuff that you are playing that you should continue playing.
That will be wholly new experiences.
And that's like Dead Space was that for me. Like, I never played Dead Space either.
Yeah,
and I'm not either. I haven't beat it, but I'm close. And this was really fucking cool to experience Dead Space in the best way possible, in my opinion. But I think RE4 is fantastic. It's an incredible video game. It is a 10 out of 10 for me. But I just don't know if I need to play. I think Requiem for a Dream is fantastic. I don't want to watch it ever again.
I mean, we've talked about this with some remakes before. We've talked about it with Last of Us. We've talked about it with Shadow of the Colossus. Like, I've played both the original Shadow of the Colossus and the remake, and that was one I was really apprehensive to play because I had talked a big game about how I never want to play Shadow of the Colossus ever again. I had the one experience. I never want to do the boss rushes that people are that like that game has an ability to do a boss rush to the original, and I guess the remake probably does too. I just didn't understand that of like this game meant so much to me in its playthrough, and I felt like replaying it would only tarnish that memory. And the only reason I could justify playing the remake was, okay, this is a different thing. I'm telling my brain this is a different thing. It's on a different console, and I had a good time with it. But when I think back to Shadow of the Colossus, I'm still thinking about playing it on the PS2. I'm not thinking about. I mean, I had a good time, but I'm not thinking about that PlayStation, that PS4 version. Like it's just. It kind of went in my head and then went right out of it.
Yeah, that was the formative one for you, and I think that this remake of RE4 will probably introduce a lot of people who didn't get to experience the original back then, and yeah, it's a funny like time that we find ourselves in where there are these prestigious remakes of these very influential video games happening that meet, or I think that some people would tell you that the RE2 remake exceeds what the first one did.
Sure.
And I don't know. Like
I have a question for you on that.
Yeah.
If I can interject really quick before you get too far away from it. I know that you had this huge, I mean, you've just praised Dead Space, rightfully so. Do you feel like you will beat this game, or do you feel compelled to beat this game?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I'm all in. I'm at the castle now. I just got to the castle. I just got the revolver, and I'm getting excited, remembering like all like, oh yeah, this is where this happens, and it is, it's equal parts nostalgia and appreciating like how much like this looks now how I imagined it in my mind looking when I look back on when I played RE4 for the first time. And I think like it's a known quantity, you know what you're getting, but it meets that standard in my opinion.
Okay.
It is really interesting to talk about these remakes and to see which ones which ones we feel are okay versus which ones we get upset about. And
it's a fine line, right? Like you could.
It's weird. I mean, we're going to talk about another one this month. Like spoilers, Advance Wars comes out. Advance Wars Reboot Camp comes out.
Yeah.
And I'm extremely excited about that game, and yet also I have no what aspersions? I don't know if that's the right word. I have no thought that game is going to be better than Advance Wars 1 or Advance Wars 2 on the GBA, because I don't think you can make those games better than they already are.
Yeah, totally.
I'm still excited to jump in and see the changes and see what they did with that, and playing a game that hasn't seen a new version or a sequel in many years.
Right.
So I'm pretty excited about that, but I also still have that apprehension of, I mean, I kind of would like to see something new, or I should be more excited about new stuff than I should be about this. I have Advance Wars 1 and 2. I could have been playing it for, over a year now, waiting for this reboot to come out. And I probably had a better overall experience if I did that. But then how does that compare to something like the RE4 remake, compares to the Metroid Prime remaster, compares to like all of these ways that we're getting games kind of sent back to us, and sometimes we're really inviting of those games coming back, and sometimes we're really we're not looking forward to that at all. And some
I mean, you can
actively pushing against it.
generally tell like these RE remakes have been a labor of love. Like they haven't felt like cynical. Like, hey, we should, people are super nostalgic for those RE games. We should absolutely just shovel some piece of shit out there and try and, you know, get as much money as we can, banking on people's nostalgia.
Especially 2 and 3, and I guess they did do a Resident Evil remake. That was the original Resident Evil remake that was on the GameCube, right? That was
Yep.
same era as this. Like those games are transformative in a way. Like they were complete remakes in that they don't feel or look basically anything like the games that they came from. And I think the reason that I have some pushback against RE, which is weird because RE4, which is weird because again, I haven't played any of that original game. I don't really have a dog in this fight, but like that game is a modern video game. That's the reason I push back against Last of Us Part 1 remake of like that. That's a modern video game.
It came out almost 20 years ago, though.
I mean, yeah, in RE4's case, yes, but like that still feels like a modern video game. Like I'm not over here asking for a Gears of War remake because Gears of War is a modern fucking video game to me. Like it's a little different than, I don't know. It's a weird thing.
I get both angles of it. I do think that it's funny to me that in this year we got Metroid Prime, Dead Space, and Resident Evil 4, which have been for decades now, almost two, called top 10 video games of all time, perfect score video games. Like they seem like an incredibly safe bet. There's more exploratory things that I feel they could have dipped into. Like they could have done Resident Evil in this format. They could have done Code Veronica in this format. There's games that we have not had built up or like tweaked. And you can clearly tell like RE4 was a game for Capcom in a big way. And it really brought more people to the franchise. So I understand that's their baby. They want to keep their baby relevant.
Yeah, this remake has sold 2 million copies in the first 2 days, or 3 million.
But I'm not surprised at all. Like that, like if you would say like, hey, Ocarina of Time's getting a remake, I would be all over it. But that would also like that's a 64 game that feels like it's
the 3DS version did quite well.
It did.
Yeah. I just think
another one we haven't even mentioned here. Final Fantasy VII remake. Like that is a completely transformative work in that even the story is not following the story of Final Fantasy VII almost whatsoever.
And even the player a wink and a nod, like
exactly, yeah. And I think that's really interesting. I mean, that game has its own faults, but there is. I mean, that was our game of the year when it came out.
It was very good.
There is like a completely different experience playing that, and I mean, I know with RE2 as well, the RE2 remake, didn't they change up some of the things? They changed
almost everything with that.
And Johnny, you mentioned it too with Dead Space. Like they changed up some of where the spawns are. So if somebody came in thinking, oh well, this is where this thing comes in, and then the game goes, actually, fuck you. Here it is in this different way. That can be cool too. Like to play on your preconceived notions of what these games are with a remake, I think is cool, and I think it's much better than trying to build a remake that hews so closely to the source material, because at that point, just give me the remaster, just give me the original game slightly prettied up, because as a preservation fan, that's what I'm looking for.
I don't know why, and we've kind of danced around this, and I think I'm just gonna come out and say it. RE4 came out well before Dead Space, and our Dead Space was incredibly loved. It's been revered by many people, but in my mind, I'm like, RE4 shouldn't even be remade. But then Dead Space, I'm like, this is the best thing ever. Like, please make this. It's a really weird thing for me.
I think RE4 was also just a much more important game to people. Like, not saying that Dead Space isn't well loved, but it's not a blueprint for modern video games the way that RE4 was. I think remaking such a classic game like that, a modern classic, is something that can make people a little touchier than remaking a game that is, while newer, and you'd feel like, oh, shouldn't I be more upset that they're remaking something that's newer and I still have access to, but also I just don't think people have the passion behind Dead Space that they do for RE4.
I'll say this and I'll be done. I think I figured out what it is. I view RE4 with a very similar lens that I view as Skyrim. And like RE4 recently, as of like last year, got a port to VR. It's had a few refinements before. It's not like this brand new thing out of nowhere where it's like RE4 got remade. Like it's kind of been messed with for a while, where Dead Space is like, holy shit, they remade Dead Space. And I know that I think there's going to be like a remastering of that, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, Skyrim, though, it's still the same game.
There's a special edition. They've done better graphics. They've added stuff in.
But still, they're enhancing an existing product. They're not completely rebuilding it from the ground up. Like they have.
And that's what they did with RE4, the RE4 ports as well. Like, okay, now it has motion controls because it's on the Wii.
I would say
it's essentially the same game.
Until this point, it's been the exact same.
And that's cool though. And I understand what you're saying about them adding it in. To my point, hearing about it's like George Lucas with the prequels or the original trilogy. Like he went and just kept fucking with it. And like there's different versions of those movies. And then there's, dumb shit he added into it. I kind of look at something like a Skyrim or even Resident Evil in a very similar way of like, okay, this has been messed with. They've done some stuff to it. It's maintained relevance in that sense. I think that's just where I'm kind of coming from it. Very personally speaking, I think it's very well done. I think it's very cool. It looks great, plays great. It's one of the best games ever made. I just don't know if I want to play it. And that's not to diminish anybody from doing so. And again, nobody's going to listen to me. I would just say, I think I'm going to say I checked it out. It's cool. I like it. Maybe I'll go back to it. But right now, and this year especially, there's just way too much new shit that I'm just jazzed about.
In Bobby's home, Leon shot first. And
Leon shoots first.
And we don't accept any other special editions in this house. Get fucked.
I'm anxious to hear how that progresses for you, Johnny.
Yeah, I'm moving right along.
All right.
Is
this the wheel time now? Is this the wheel time?
Yeah, let's spin a wheel.
Okay. Let's get Chase a game that he will not finish.
Hey, it might be a short game. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a game that I finish easily.
Should I spin that wheel?
Yeah, you know what? Go ahead. Spin that wheel. Let's see what happens.
What do we get, Chase? What do we get?
I don't know.
Big money, no whammies.
Let's see.
Echo Chrome.
Oh man, that was so close to Paper Mario and the Thousand-Year Door. That would have been great. Echo Chrome. Okay.
No such luck.
That's a short game. That's a puzzle game on the PSP. Who's the guy? The Escher. Like that's like an Escher style
Monument Valley.
Yeah, I think the thing is like the character in Echo Chrome can only turn left. I can only make left
Zoolander.
turns. So you have to like.
God damn it! I was gonna say that.
Manipulate. Yeah, something.
No,
something
like you can't turn left.
Oh, it's right.
Cool. Echo Chrome. I think that's a fun one. I'm excited. That'll be neat. I'll play it as soon as I finish Opus, which should be fun. But I'm glad that game I believe is pretty darn short. So I think that's a good one to help me catch up on my backlog roulette. Echo Chrome. Gonna write that down.
There you
Sweet. Go. My question is, how am I gonna play Echo Chrome?
You have a Vita TV you can play it on.
I do. Don't know if I guess.
And I bet you can probably play it on your pocket. Version. Maybe
you can't play it on a pocket. You can't play a PSP game on a pocket.
You know what you could probably play it on? Your Steam Deck.
Could probably play it on a Steam Deck. I think
you can play it on your PS5.
Does it have a PS5?
It's included in PlayStation Plus Premium.
Is it really?
Yep.
All right. Well, that's cool. I also think let me just check here to make sure.
Or it's $10. If you don't have PS Plus Premium.
I have an emulated version of it on this Mac. I could play it there.
Or that.
We'll see. Okay, I've got some ways to play Echochrome. That's cool. Nice. Cool. I didn't know that you could play it on PS5. That might be the one I try.
There you go.
All right. You want to talk about April?
We got to talk about
March.
We got to talk about March.
Let's talk about March. Yeah, we got to do our previous month recap before we get into the new month. In March, let's see what our picks were and see how they turned out for us. So I said there's a non-zero chance I play Wolong, and I was right. There was a non-zero chance. It was like a 1% chance, and the 1% did not hit. Johnny played it though.
You heard me talk about it. And you're like,
I heard you talk about it. I downloaded the game movie. I'm still gonna say this is a bit of a cop out, but I am continuing to read Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I finished chapter 51 yesterday. I finished the Battle of Red Cliff, so now I could watch the Red Cliff movie and its sequel. I think John Woo made those movies, which I'm pretty excited about. But I think maybe I just should finish the fucking books before I really engage with any more of this stuff. So
if you want the real story, you should probably play Wolong.
You're right. If I want to see what really happened, Wolong is the only really way to do it. So yes. I didn't play Wolong, but I'm still interested in its ideas, even if I'm not interested in its Souls-like shit. I also had the Dead Cells Castlevania DLC, which I played. I thought it was okay. I have not gone back to it since we've talked about it, and I haven't really felt compelled to. I think as much as I liked Dead Cells when it first came out, it's just kind of fallen off for me as a roguelike. There's so many other roguelikes I think I would pick up and play before Dead Cells, both in an action sense or like in a Monster Train or a Fights in Tight Spaces, like the more turn-based deck drafting stuff that we like.
What a game.
And then I wrote Rocky City after it goes on deep discount. This game kind of came out.
Came in real hot.
Yeah, but only on PC, and even then only on the Epic Game Store. The console versions are still a ways out, I'm pretty sure. That game, even though it is a discount priced game, it has not been discounted, right? So I'm not even close to buying that game. But
this was a money laundering scheme, right?
It has to be, right? You can't make a game this.
Have you guys seen the trailer?
Jesus.
Because if you hear any of Chuck Norris's line reads,
they're so bad.
He sounds like someone gave him a.
It's like he's ordering Chinese food. Like it's dead. It's like how somebody has dead eyes. This is like dead voice.
What's the sleeping? What's the sleeping medicine that they give old people?
NyQuil?
No, it's a prescription. Anyway, it sounds like he popped a couple of those. Ambien.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he popped a couple of Ambien and then got in the recording booth. It's what a weird thing. This is like the year The Quiet Man came out. Like,
yeah, a little bit. I still want to experience this. I want to know what this thing is, but also I don't want to know what it is right now. I can wait. I can wait on that. Bobby, you had Terra Nil. We talked about some of that tonight.
Yep.
You had EA Sports PGA Tour, which got delayed to this month. We'll talk about it more later. Yep. Resident Evil 4, we talked about it. And you also had maybe Crime Boss Rocky City.
Yeah.
And then, Johnny, you had RE4. We talked about it. Terra Nil, we talked about it. You didn't play it, though, yourself, though, right?
I played a little bit of it on my iPad. Mm-hmm.
Okay, nice. And then you had Wolong, which, how much further have you gotten into Wolong at this point?
I uninstalled it. I was like, I don't feel like getting past this. So,
it's more like so long.
Made it to the first boss.
Those yellow turbans, I guess we'll never know what happens to them.
I was wearing yellow turban armor.
Wow, that's traitor shit right there. All right, let's get into April, and we'll at first we'll talk about what you can play for free this month. So first up, Meet Your Maker is coming to PlayStation Plus Essentials. That is a new game for this month. We'll talk about it later. What?
Oh,
What are you
never
doing,
mind.
Bobby?
Never mind. Never
Yeah.
mind.
No. We don't have trailers for these. Also, Sackboy: A Big Adventure was a PS4 game. So PS4, PS5 game. That's a side scroller, or is it a side scroller? I know it's a platformer. Platformer starring
Yeah.
Sackboy of Little Big Planet fame. And also Tales of Iron, which when I looked it up, it appears to be like a 2D Souls-like game where you play as a mouse.
I've heard of this
It's
one.
like
Yeah.
it's like, have you ever read what were those books, like Redwall?
Mhm.
Where
Yep,
it's
I
like,
know.
oh, it's mice with swords. And
I read some of those books.
yeah, you seem like the kind of person who would have read some of those
did.
books.
I also liked Secret of Nim a lot when I was a kid.
Sure. So if you're into that kind of stuff, Tales of Iron is PS4, PS5 as well. Xbox games with gold coming in hot as we are recording this tonight.
Ooh, too hot.
Spicy.
It just came in with what these games are. Let's go down the list here. Another Sight is from April 1st to April 30th. That game is like a 2D puzzle platformer. It's kind of got like some Alice in Wonderland vibes.
Yeah.
It didn't look all that great to me. Hue is out April 16th to May 15th for free.
Like the light bulb?
Yes.
Like the colors, yeah. And that is another puzzle platformer where you change the color. Like you can freeze time and change the color, and then that changes the things that you see or can't see in the world. So it can, like, so if there's like a pink platform in the world and you change the color to pink, those platforms disappear. But it might show up the blue platforms that you couldn't see before. So now, because it contrasts there, now you can jump on the blue platform to get further in. I think it's got some cool ideas to it. I remember when it came out, people seemed to be into it. Those are both Xbox One games, so you can obviously play them on your Xbox Series X. And then we have some 360 games that are also in here from April 1st to April 15th. Outpost Kaloki X, which is kind of like
what the fuck is that?
It's kind of like a city builder in space. It's like you're building a space station. Gotta say, looks real bad. It was an XBLA game on 360. I don't know if it was like a physical boxed copy ever.
Huh.
Kind of shows. And then from April 16th to April 30th, MX versus ATV Alive. I've never played any of the MX versus ATV games. This seems to be another one of those. I did watch a YouTube reviewer talk a little bit about it and say that, hey, this one kind of sucks in that there aren't a whole lot of tracks.
Damn.
And you have to level up to something like level 10 before you can get more tracks. But to get to level 10 means you have to race 30 or 40 times on the same 3 or 4 tracks they give you at the beginning. And then they only unlock like another 3 or 4 tracks, and then you have to get to level 25 before they unlock more tracks after that. It's like, man, that seems fucked. I might, if you want to play one of those games, maybe go play MX versus ATV Unleashed or Fury. I think MX versus ATV Fury is also a pretty well-liked one. So maybe check out those before Alive. But Alive is free, and it seems like the physics stuff and the actual racing itself is still pretty good in there. And then, Bobby, I'll throw it over to you to talk about a couple of games that are going to be new to Game Pass this month, and anything that is actually a new game this month we'll talk about in a little bit more detail. But Bobby, what is new in the month of April on Game Pass?
Lots of things. It's a good month to be a Game Pass supporter. You've got right at the gate Everspace 2, followed by Ghostwire Tokyo, Minecraft Legends, Coffee Talk Episode 2, The Cassette Beast, The Last Case of Benedict Fox, and Homestead Arcana. All cool stuff to check out.
Very cool. Well, with that, let's get into the actual month of releases. On April 4th, we are getting Grim Grimoire once more for Switch, PS4, and PS5. This is a port of the 2007 PlayStation 2 RTS game. This is made by Vanillaware, makers of Dragon's Crown, 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, Murmas the Demon Blade, a perennial favorite of mine. I've never played this game because I didn't have a PS2 growing up and only got it much later. And at this point, that game would have been probably like a real rare thing to find. I think this looks kind of neat as an RTS game, kind of where you're building creeps and having them fight like a tower defense style thing.
Tower defense, you say?
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like it could be kind of cool, and it's got that signature Vanillaware art that looks good. I could hear, you can't hear this while we're watching the trailer, but when I watched the trailer, I definitely heard the voice. I believe it's Wendy Lee, the voice actress. If you watch any anime, she's the dub voice of
Who would do
Haruhi
such a thing?
Suzumiya. Yeah, nobody would do that. I mean, she's the voice of a ton of things, but when I heard this, I was like, "Oh, is that fucking Haruhi?" And it absolutely is. So I might give this a shot because I think it looks cool, and I just generally like Vanillaware's output. But more importantly, I was asking myself, why are you porting this and not Muramasa the Demon Blade? God damn it! What the fuck? Apparently a lot of people have been asking that question, and they even talked to one of the bosses at Vanillaware, and he kind of sidestepped the question a little bit. It sounds like something they want to do, but there
Damn,
are
I didn't know this was a
some
deep dive. I thought it was a monthly preview.
yeah, sorry. He said like there's some kind of issues that they need to get through first. I don't know. It's weird, but they should absolutely put Muramasa the Demon Blade. I don't care what it takes. We've talked about so many other games that looked like Muramasa the Demon Blade, and they've always been garbage. So just bring me the game I like, goddammit. Anyway, let's move on. Also on the 4th, we mentioned it before, Meet Your Maker is coming to PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X. I've been hearing a lot of buzz about this game, but I also follow Eric Pope on Twitter, and he is the community manager for what is the Dead by Daylight dev? I forgot their name. But
I've played this. If you'd like to know about it. I've played this.
You've played this very game?
Yeah.
Well, then I'll please tell us.
It's cool. I think in the show note you mentioned Doom in there, and there's definitely some Doom vibes to it.
Yeah.
It was part of a Next Fest, so I don't think I was getting like the full experience of what this game will be when it comes to kind of exploring dungeons and bases and traps and all that fun stuff from a community standpoint, but it felt a little swimmy in that beta in comparison to like a Doom for being like a fast-paced first-person shooter. Mm-hmm. I found it to have a little bit of a floatiness to it, a little swimminess to it that could have just been my build that I played, but the concept seemed really cool, and the world that you're in seems neat as well. So I was curious about this one.
Yeah, so the concept is that you are both building these dungeons and you're also infiltrating other people's dungeons. Mm-hmm. And there have been a couple other games that have done this before. I remember one, I can't remember the name, but it was a little bit more mechanical in, okay, I'm going in and I'm solving this stuff. In this game, you have like a grapple hook, like I mentioned with the Doom thing, and like Bobby mentioned, even though it's a little swimmier, you have a little bit more freedom of movement here. There's maybe a little bit more finesse in here, but it is essentially, hey, I built a trap dungeon, and can you get through my trap? It's like kind of like
Mario Maker
for Doom. Sure. Yeah. Like that's kind of a way to go with that. I think that's kind of interesting. I hope they do well. And again, it is out on those other consoles, but it is free for PlayStation Plus subscribers. So if you have a PS4 or PS5, that would be something to check out for free.
It's also one of the higher tiered ones, right?
No, it's essential. That's the basic.
Cool.
Yeah, we don't do the extra or whatever the higher one of extra is, because I don't care. And I'm not going to give him my money for that. So we'll never know. Not on a preview. Also on the 4th, Road 96 Mile Zero is coming to PC, Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X. This is a prequel to the 2021 narrative game Road 96. I think I got this one confused with a different game. Like, what's the
There
game
was a
that
game
had like the
called
weird art
Hitchhiker.
style?
Oh, you're thinking about the one that came out last year it was on Game Pass. It looked like
Yeah.
Tom Goes to the Mayor.
Yeah.
With totally very different from.
Tonally, yeah. Not quite
I
the same.
I actually thought this was a little soon for them to be putting out a sequel to that game, so I also was tricked.
Yeah.
What was that called?
I can't remember. If only,
Highway
Still on
96?
Game
one of us
Pass.
had access to the internet.
Highway 96. No, wait.
No.
Road 96.
No.
It was a game here.
I found it.
Fuck it. I'll do it myself. Hang
Is
on.
it? No, there's no way they would literally be called Highway 96 and this game called Road 96.
This is called Road 96, yeah.
This game is Road 96.
There also was a game that came out in 2022 called Road 96.
This doesn't seem right to me. I don't know.
What's
I don't
happening?
know. Road 96 Mile Zero, though, is a prequel. It takes one of the characters from Road
It
96.
is from the same studio, yeah.
So we're not crazy. It is the game we thought it was. Just this game has a completely different art style.
Mm-hmm.
All right, sure, yep, I'll accept it. Bobby, let's move on. Let's talk about the game that you want to talk about here. It is on Game Pass this month on the 6th of April. Everspace 2 coming to
man.
PC, Mac, Linux, PS4, and Xbox One. Bobby, tell me about Everspace 2.
I'm so fucking excited. This game hit early access
Are
a while
you?
back. Huh?
Said, are you? I didn't know.
Yeah. This is a sequel to Everspace, but it is a complete departure from what the first game was. The first game was a procedurally generated rogue-like that you would be doing runs on. They have now made this into essentially like a dungeon crawling, loot and shooting, side questing RPG. And you are piloting a ship that you can get multiple ships and upgrade and paint and customize. There is branching dialogue at times. No, I'm sorry, there's not. There is branching team members that you can go in through interactions and increase their skill sets. It plays so well. It's an arcade shooter. It's not a sim shooter. It's got a great style to it. I've enjoyed it thoroughly, and I've been following probably more than any other game the actual production of this one. I tune in as often as I can to their every Friday. They've done a live stream of the updates they've added in the early access roadmap, and I've tried to tune in and stay informed on it. And this has been one of my most anticipated games since playing it in early access. I cannot wait.
Very nice. Yeah, it does look cool. I know when we played games like Chorus, I mentioned like, okay, what's the difference? Because aesthetically they have a lot in common, but it seems like they are kind of going for different things. Or Everspace is at least building off of a pedigree that they have with the original game. But yeah, I've definitely seen your excitement firsthand for Everspace 2, and
Yeah.
I'm excited for you. And if this might even be something I would play, because it does seem
It's
pretty
very cool.
So we'll take a look.
I'm also looking forward to this game.
Also on the 6th, Paparazzi coming out for Nintendo Switch.
Game of the year.
I mean, Johnny, we didn't love the new Pokemon Snap, right?
We didn't. No.
We were. I mean, it was
fine.
It was fine. It was a little too much of the same. I really wanted us to be able to go out and just explore the world and discover some Pokemon and take photos of them just in the wild, like not to be on rails like we were in the previous game. In that sense, Paparazzi is the better sequel to Pokemon Snap, because you go around the world and you find dogs and you take photos of them.
Let the people who made Bug Snacks make Pokemon Snap.
Sure.
That would be the Bug Snacks catching, and yes, I saw what you did there. It's very good.
Yes, I'm very clever. Yeah. So Paparazzi, I think this looks kind of fun. Maybe just as like a easy breezy little game. But
I just saw the logo and I got really
Yeah.
excited. This is a Kit Fox game.
Yeah.
They made Boyfriend Dungeon, which I liked a whole lot. They got a few other irons in the fire, but they have a knack for hitting a tone and a charm, I think, and this seems to be doing a very similar thing as well. So this could be fun to check out. I bet you my wife will be, because she was a photography major and she loves dogs. I think that she's going to be very happy with what this is.
I've seen the Instagram. She'd be all over this, I would think.
Yep.
And it's on the Switch, so she's got one of those. So might work out just well. On the 7th, Bobby, we're back to something for you. EA Sports PGA Tour is coming to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. So this was originally scheduled for last month when we covered it then. We're not going to show another trailer because it's the same trailer, but it got delayed to this month. I don't know if it's a real delay or if they just somebody realized, hey, the Masters is in April. What if we just had this? What if we had this game go live when everybody's watching the golf and get really excited about it? So that's what they're doing. So now it's releasing on April 7th. But Bobby, any more updates to the golf that you want to tell us about?
The only update is that my time to play the golf is going to be limited. Probably there's a lot this month, but I'm going to check it out still on the EA Play deal that they got to make sure. And I feel really confident I will be picking it up and enjoying it. But there's a lot coming out in April and some even bigger stuff in May. So lots of stuff.
Yeah. On April 11th, the 411, as we call it around here, Tron Identity comes out to PC and Switch. This is a visual novel. It is made by Bithell Games. Mike Bithell, the maker of Thomas Was Alone, Volume, John Wick Hex. He's got a pretty decent track record with video games. Although we've talked about John Wick Hex a couple times. Having that license, I don't know if he did too much with that license. So we'll see. But I think he's got a decent enough track record that I'm pretty interested in seeing what he and his team might do with Tron here through a visual novel. I love Tron. It's probably my favorite Disney property, even though they've done their best to try to make me hate it. But I just like Tron. I like light cycles. I like the blue and orange. That's my
pretty
thing.
Cool.
So I'm excited to jump in and try this, and also knowing that it's on the Switch, I think is pretty cool. We will
also knowing that it's on that fucking gaming PC you had us build for you. That's cool too.
It's true, but I can't take that gaming PC with me.
You can. I can take
a Steam Deck with me, but
you sure can. Yes. Got you there, buddy.
Yeah,
you just fell for my trap card.
Sure as hell got me. Let's move on to the 12th. We mentioned it for the Game Pass. Ghostwire Tokyo coming to Xbox Series X, port of last year's game. So coming to Xbox, and also you can use your Game Pass subscription to get this for free. I don't remember people being super positive on Ghostwire Tokyo.
I think it has some issues.
Like kind of mixed reviews, I think.
Yeah. But hey, Game Pass, no skin off your nose to give it a shot. So that's out there. On the 14th, Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection coming to PC, Switch, and PS4. This is it's 10 games, but after was it after 4? No, it was after 3. They started splitting them up into double versions, Pokemon style. So there is a Mega Man Battle Network 4, like red something and white something, and 5. It's the same thing with that. So it's really 6 games, but then double versions of 4, 5, and 6. I played the original Mega Man Battle Network game on the Game Boy Advance, and I had a pretty good time with it. I like the fighting style. I like the way that you're kind of collecting cards to fight in this 2D plane where you can bounce around these different areas and have attacks that do different area of effect damages and dodge out of other enemy attacks that are coming back at you, and then like a good Mega Man game, collecting their attacks so then you can use them later against other people. I thought it was fun. I haven't tried any other games.
Wasn't there a
This
game that came out that riffed off this pretty hard?
It was, yeah. I can't remember the name. Johnny will look it up for us.
Yeah.
But yes, there absolutely was a game that took this same fighting style. I don't know
Yeah.
how much of the rest of the game it was pulling from, but it definitely did take the combat from this series.
I mean, it's like 100%. It's like a clone.
Absolutely. It is that 9 square against 9 square. Yeah, it is absolutely that. So this game is also being developed by Digital Eclipse. They're the ones putting this collection together. Digital Eclipse. They've put together the Cowabunga collection for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They made Atari 50. They've worked on the previous Mega Man collections, the Mega Man Zero collection, the regular Mega Man collection. They know how to do this, and they also pack these things with extra bonus features. Johnny, you have a name for us?
One Step from Eden.
That's it. That's the one.
That's the one. Nice
One of the cool things with this, there is going to be online play. I don't know if it's online play for one specific game or if they've found a way to like combine all the games into some online play. There also was a bunch of Japanese only content that has now been translated and included in this version. So you can get all of the extra bonus shit that we never got here in our English versions.
These collections are very cool.
They're really cool, and there's also just like a ton of concept art and making of stuff. I mean, it's not going to be Atari 50 levels of interviews and things like that, but they have always done a good job of preserving these games by giving enough of the context around what's going on and also making sure it's got plenty of content. So I think the eShop has this split up into 2 versions where it's you can get 1, 2, and 3, and then you can get 4 and 4, 5 and 5, 6 and 6 in one package. So like they show it as a split thing, but they also show that you can buy it as a single package.
Okay.
I don't know if that will be the way it is actually sold everywhere, but if you're only interested in playing the first 3 Mega Man Battle Network games, then I believe there's going to be a way for you to play them like that. Either way, I think these are something worth checking out. I had a good time with Battle Network 1, and I would like to go back and play more of those Battle Network games sometime.
I got to interrupt what we're doing here for a second.
Please, yeah, what do you got?
That game earlier is Dusk Falls. It's not the Road 96, the one that you're thinking of.
Thank you.
It's Dusk Falls. Just want to put that out
the
there.
dumb art style.
Tom Goes to the Mirror. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Glad we weren't crazy that they were 2 separate games.
Yes.
Even though they're both about being on the road and traveling. Not exactly the same thing. Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Also on the 18th, Minecraft Legends coming to PC, Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X. For some reason, I thought we already talked about this. Maybe I was thinking about the other Minecraft game that they made not too long ago. But what is Minecraft Legends? You guys are both relatively interested in it, right?
Yes, very much so. I am looking forward to playing more of this with Johnny. Well, not more of this, but playing this with Johnny, because we've played Minecraft together for years now. But Johnny, this is an RTS that you are building up your base, and I think it is PvP, if I'm not mistaken.
It does have PvP.
It does have PvP as well, but you are doing all the things that you do in a Minecraft game, from gathering and building, but this is for your base, right?
Yeah, it was kind of weird because like it was the way the thing I thought it was in my head turned out to be different than what they showed us in the last trailer. So yeah, you take on bases by day and defend your allies after dusk. So it sounds like you go out during the day, you collect resources, and you come back and you defend.
What's it different? What's different from what you thought it was?
I think I thought it was like an Age of Empires thing, like, you know, you're traveling around, you're conquering. I don't know, like, it's just this preconceived notion of what this game was going to be is different than
So
it's
are
more
you saying that
substantial
it's,
than
are
what
you
I
saying
thought
it's
it was
more
going
like
to
you're
be.
holding down a fort? Like during the day, you go out and collect resources, and then it's
Yes. Then it's tower
the
defense time.
yeah, it's what Fortnite originally was before it turned into the battle royale.
Yes.
There you go.
Cool. All right. What was the other Minecraft game I'm thinking of? The action RPG.
Dungeons.
Dungeons.
Minecraft Dungeons. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. On the 19th, a little bit of DLC here. Horizon Forbidden West's Burning Shores DLC comes to PS5. It is $20. Bobby, I defer to you. What are we
for sure.
What are we getting in the Burning Shores?
A couple things to call out. If you pre-order the game right now, it is $20. You get a couple of in-game items for free if you pre-order it. So do that if you're going to play it. Another thing I'll call out that I find very fascinating is there was a lot of talk when Horizon Forbidden West came out that it was going to be on PS4 as well. This DLC is only on PS5, which I find very fascinating considering that they did put this on PS4. So I wonder if there's going to be some enhancements. You are going to be in Hollywood with this, and so I don't know if there's going to be a little bit more just resource intense heaviness that's coming from the world and the environment you're in. It looks like a very big boss is hanging out behind that sign, and what I'm most excited about is that they're showing it here in the trailer, but you unlock near the end game the ability to have a mount that could fly, and that changes this game like in such a cool way. You can go literally anywhere, call them down. It's so much fun, and I'm really hoping that they build on that, and given the kind of the island look that they have here, I think they will play into it.
So this is a whole new landmass that you're visiting?
Yep.
Okay.
And I don't know if this takes place before or after, from a story beat standpoint of the last game, of the original for this, but we'll see. I'm very curious about it. $20 I think is a fair price for what the DLC is. I'm hoping it's knowing Sony, it might not be a very long one, but we'll see.
It picks up where the end of Forbidden West left off, so it is the continuation of the story.
I mean, if he is in it, obviously he would have had all of his lines done way beforehand. But do we know if Lance Reddick / Silence will have any sort of?
I don't know if he'll be in this or not,
here?
but I think that's a thing that they're going to have to navigate.
Okay. Yeah, I know you mentioned, is that at the end of this game where he takes a bigger role, or like it's setting him up for a bigger role in the whatever a third game might be?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
On the 21st, Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp is coming to Switch. Maybe it's been delayed before. Let's hope it doesn't get delayed again. I mean, we talked about this a little earlier in the show. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I know that it's not going to be as good as Advance Wars on the Game Boy Advance. At least it's not going to look as good. This looks nice. I love what Way Forward's doing with the cutscenes, but like when you get into the actual battling, I want to see those sprites. God damn it. And this game is not that. But
is this going to be a casual Monday joint?
I could see that. Absolutely. I could see
us co-op, is it?
It's not co-op. Well, it could be. Like the story campaign is not co-op, but it does have the level editor, so we could absolutely build some maps together, or we could play against each other, or you can have versus maps, either ones that we build or ones that are baked in there, and we can have up to 4 armies. So you could be one of the armies, I could be one of the armies, and we could go as a co-op against the other 2 armies. So we'll take a look at that when it comes out. I bet we can do something with Casual Monday on that, one way or the other.
I bet you will see quick looks and streams of this game from the Casual Hour.
I bet so. I love Advance Wars. I hope this game sells well, just so they know that they should make more. I know I'm also the big Fire Emblem head, and if Intelligent Systems is going to only make one series, I'm kind of glad it's Fire Emblem, but at the same time, they should just make both. They're so good.
Yeah. They should.
Let's move on. Also on the 21st, Dead Island 2 is coming to PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X.
I can't believe that's actually happening. That's insane.
Yeah, it seems it's been a while since we've got a Dead Island.
I've been seeing some stuff about this. It's a little interesting.
I mean, even though this is one, there are a couple of misnomers here. One, it's called Dead Island 2. This is not the second Dead Island. There was a Dead Island Riptide. I think this is the third Dead Island. Also, it's in LA. It's not an island. Unless you want to say North America is an island, which is also wrong because it's attached to South America.
Even LA.
There's no island here. Damn it. But hey, it's Dead Island. It's gonna. I didn't even play the first Dead Island. Did anybody here play a Dead Island game?
I did not play Dead Island.
I did.
I played Dying Light.
Same, but different. Johnny, what can you tell us about Dead Island, and are you excited about Dead Island 2?
I thought Dying Light was better.
Okay.
And I thought it was fine. Like it was fun. I played it a little bit of it with my cousin back in the day. And I am glad that this game is no longer in development hell. I hope that it is a good game for the people that are excited about it. This is not one I will probably be picking up at least at launch.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a concern to me when a sequel is not being made by the original studio.
Correct.
And Techland is the one who made the original Dead Island. I think they also made Riptide. So for them not to be a part of this feels weird to me. But this is also wrapped up in Deep Silver, big conglomerate thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how to feel about any of this, but I also just don't give a fuck about zombie games. So I guess what I feel is complete apathy.
There it is.
On the 26th, Cassette Beasts comes to PC. This is also some hot news that we got from Twitter today. It's going to be coming to Switch and Xbox in the spring. But Bobby, I know you're probably the most excited about Cassette Beasts out of all of us. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that game?
Yeah, I got to check this out during a Next Fest as well. It is Pokemon, kind of. But you are getting these tapes or cassettes that you play, and that is going to be like what you collect in it. It's got really snappy, good writing from what I could pick up on. I like the upgrades in it. It seems like there's going to be some cool evolutions. The questing was really well done. I liked the design quite a bit as well. I'm here for it, man. Like this is a very cool thing, and I'm thrilled that this is going to be a Game Pass game. I think it'll play very well on the cloud version on my Steam Deck, and I'll be playing this for sure. I'm very, very pumped that this is coming out.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm excited to hear what you think about it. And then finally, on the 28th, Star Wars Jedi Survivor is coming to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. What are you guys thinking about the Star Wars? I know Bobby's wearing a Star Wars hat right now. We're a pretty pro Star Wars podcast, except for me, I guess. I obviously hate Star Wars and everything it represents.
I am very much looking forward to this game. I hope that they have addressed the issues I had with combat, and some of the character controls could be a little finicky at times. But the story I really enjoyed, and I love Respawn. And if I can't get Titanfall 3, at least I can get another Jedi game from them.
I really liked the story of this game. I think I liked the story way more than I liked playing the game itself.
Yeah, I turned the difficulty all the way down at a certain point.
I did that very early. I'm like, I don't give a shit about this wannabe Souls-like combat in my Star Wars. I want to just fucking know the story. But what I'm excited about with this one is they've added in different stances and different power levels with different styles of lightsabers, which you had in the first one, but they were more like a flourish that you could do. But they've got some stuff here that makes it seem like I might even be able to find a play style that fits my liking better, depending on how I craft my saber and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. I was really impressed with this trailer. I think a lot of this stuff looks really cool. I like they had this in the original game where they had a double-bladed lightsaber. They had the double blade? Did they also have two separate ones? Okay.
It was one and the same. You pulled it apart.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But they did have kind of different styles. There was the single saber style or the double, but it seems like they're taking that to a new extreme here, and I think that's pretty cool. I mean, I like Johnny. I wish they would fix a couple of the issues I had with it. Like my issues being, I think Cal Kestis is a bitch, and putting a shitty little goatee on him, I don't think is going to fix that fix that thought for me. But you know, whatever. I guess I have to get over that. I will never get over little pandery Star Wars references. They showed in this trailer. He's got a crossguard. He's got a blue crossguard lightsaber like he's Kylo Ren, and I just think that's fucking
Well, that's
lame.
where you're wrong, because it's not the same one as Kylo Ren. His was a. You can roll your eyes, but you're gonna if you're gonna call it out, you're gonna get corrected. So buckle up. They're bringing somebody from the High Republic into this, and his lightsaber originates from the High Republic. If you would see that what they use, it has actual crossbars on it. It's just not an unstable lightsaber that fucking dumbass Kylo tried to build on his own. This is I think something he probably gets from the character in this game, who has actually been on ice from that era. And that's what they establish here. So I think that there's actually something besides pandering. There's probably something to be said about why that's there, considering what era it comes from.
Even still, like that is they didn't write the High Republic before the sequel movie came out. So even the High Republic is taking that idea and
there was definitely some like expanded universe stuff in the 90s. Again,
that had the crossguard ones. I don't know.
Yeah, go look at some little chip.
I don't know. I just think when you have an entire fucking galaxy, you can do whatever you want, and I think it's weird when they go back to the
Star
same
Wars
stuff.
Chase. It's Star Wars. Nope.
I'm not saying to get rid of lightsabers.
Star
I'm
Wars.
saying don't make a very obvious reference to the Star Wars thing. Like you could do
so just
anything
keep it
you
from
wanted.
the 70s.
No, I will say the Kylo line. It's my favorite line in all of Star Wars. It's forget the past or let the past go. I don't even know the fucking line.
Let the past die.
Well, then that's why you should be okay with the new lightsaber if you're using that.
I would love to kill the fucking Star Wars past so we could do new interesting Star Wars stuff. And we're all just too wrapped up in those fucking movies and have to do the same shit over and over.
This is also taking place around the time that those movies would be ramping up too. For the sequels. Sure. So if that was a new thing from that era, like this is actually, and you'll probably see the correlation either in this game or probably next season in Rebels with him, if I had to guess.
Nah.
We'll see.
Nah. I still think this trailer rips. Just when I saw the crossguard thing, I went, ugh.
What a weird hill to die on.
What a weird hilt to die on is correct. Anyway, it's time to make some monthly picks. Bobby, why don't you go first? What do you like this
little
month?
Old me.
Yeah, little you.
Everspace 2, Horizon Burning Shores, Minecraft Legends, Advanced Wars 1 and 2, and Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I'm going to be a busy bee.
So a light month for you.
Light month.
Johnny, what do you got going on?
Jedi Survivor, Minecraft Legends, Advanced Wars, and Everspace.
Okay. I love that, Johnny. I mean, it's because the order that I do these in, and just I said Bobby first, but it always just feels like you pick the same shit that we pick, Johnny, every time. Anyway,
sorry. Dead Island 2, Chase.
I'm not playing. Nobody else is gonna say Dead Island 2, so yeah, that's a safe one for me.
I'm not playing the Horizon DLC.
That's true. It's very, very unique of you.
You're not?
It's fine. It's fine to like the games that you like, and if those games overlap with our games, that's fine too. I'm gonna call on you first next time, and we won't have this problem. My monthly picks. I think I'm going to pick up that Grim Grimoire once more. The Vanillaware game. I think that seems neat. The Tron Identity. That sounds like my shit. Advanced Wars 1 and 2. We've talked about that obviously, and then I don't know if it's going to be this month, Well, I mean, it comes at the end of the month, so I don't know if it's going to be next month, but I will probably end up playing the Star Wars game. Just so I have more ammunition to bitch about and to piss off Bobby even more. Bobby can't wait until I play the Star Wars game so I can find even more
Careful what you wish
minutia.
for. I'm going to keep playing Destiny with you. I will go toe to toe with you. You want to talk about let the past die? How many fucking guns have you got bonered up over that come from Destiny that got brought back to Destiny 2?
I really admit Destiny is some bullshit right now. I told you not to play it.
Oh, they can't bring in that lightsaber, but oh my god, there's a gun from Destiny. Let me get that one because it's a DLC for this season. It's the same shit.
Yeah. I know, and you're right. I don't know what the veil is. I still don't know what the veil is.
Nobody does. They don't have
Somehow
time to
the veil
explain
came back.
why they don't have time to explain what the veil is.
They've tried to kind of explain it, or they've kind of tried to explain that they will be explaining it. And I'm like, I think you really just fucked up on this one. It's not some grand mystery. You just fucked up on the writing. Anyway, that's our show. That's our month. Bobby, why don't you go ahead and take us home?
Yeah, for sure. We have an interesting week. That's actually a very old schedule. How did that show up? That is not
Impact. Jesus Christ, we haven't played Genshin Impact in
Let's fix
months.
that. There we go. Wow.
That'll work.
Yikes. That would have been a rough week. I would have much rather listened to Chase talk about Star Wars. We've got a fun week. We played Fights in Tight Spaces on Monday. That game continues to be fantastic.
So good. It's unfair how good that game is.
It's so good. God damn it. It felt great to be back. We have not put out any quick looks this week because we were recording, and we mentioned that earlier. We got those in the hopper. We'll get those out soon. We talked about those games coming out in April tonight, and on Friday, an episode I'm very excited of. Not really an episode, a stream, sorry. We have our community stream with friends of our show coming on. We got Jiggy and our friend Whipped coming on as we're going to be playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Maybe Jason, my cousin, might stop by and join in on the fun.
Long time coming. I mean, that last wave of Booster Course DLC has been out for a handful of weeks now, and we just haven't had a good time where all of us were around and Diablo wasn't out. So this ends up being the week where we're going to make it happen. I'm really excited. I still haven't played any of those tracks. I want to come in blind, or I mean, as blind as I can. I've played whatever tracks were in previous Mario Kart games, but this one also has some brand new tracks. That Yoshi's Island track is a completely brand new track that nobody's seen before. So
I'm excited.
Excited to go kick your ass on some new courses. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Chase, what do you got going on outside of our show?
Yeah, a couple things. I mentioned Gamers on the Go. Jiggy and I, good friend of the show, Jiggy-san, and I are going to be recording that top 25 games for Game Boy and Game Boy Color. I think that's recording this weekend, so it should be up next week. That'll be fun. And then also good friend of the show, Pierce Corshane, and I have a different podcast called Pilot Program, where we watch the first episode of every television show ever made. We're coming to episode 8. So again, slow going. Pierce is coming back from working at PAX East.
Ooh, fun.
So whenever he is back and settled and situated, we'll get to recording our episode on Deadwood, which I had never seen before. I've now watched the first episode of Deadwood. I'm excited to talk about Deadwood. I think Pierce has watched quite a bit of Deadwood, so he'll be the expert on this episode, but that'll be fun. And then I have a pretty good idea of what we might do for the next show after that, and I'm really excited about what that could be. So find that at Pilot Program. It's in my link tree. It's in the chat thing. But that is what I've got going on.
Johnny, what about you? What do you got going on?
I bought a bunch of Warhammer 40K Magic cards that we're going to play with this weekend.
That's the show, folks.
Yeah. We're gonna play some Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, we're playing this weekend. It'll be a good time.
I'm excited. I'm really, really excited for that.
Me too.
Oh yeah.
Good time.
All right. Well, look, we'll be back live Friday night with our friends playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Come say hi at 10:30 p.m. Central on twitch.tv/thecasualhour. We'll talk to you all soon.
Bye.